All right, we are here at NVIDIA GTC, and I'm super excited to be here at the Juniper Network with one and only Praful. Praful, welcome to the Ravit Show.
Thank you, Ravit. Pleasure to be here.
Same here. I've heard you at various conferences, various talks that you have done, and I'm super excited to chat with you about AI infrastructure, AI, and much more. But before we get into it, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us more about what you do at Juniper and what's happening at NVIDIA GTC.
Yeah, happy to do that. So my name is Praful Lalchandani, and I lead product management at Juniper Networks for our AI data center solutions.
Right.
We are building for AI clusters, and hence we are here at NVIDIA GTC, soaking in what else is happening in the industry so that we can be one step ahead of the curve.
Yes, exactly. Thanks for those insights. I will, dive right in because I want to learn a lot about, the role of network in AI infrastructure. So, from Juniper's lens, what is happening in the world of AI infrastructure, and what is Juniper's, delivering as a network vendor in the AI space? Can you share a little bit about that?
So as you've seen, Ravit, at the GTC show, at the GTC itself, that the AI infrastructure is really scaling at an unprecedented rate.
Very true.
And that is putting so much more demands on networking as well, and
Yep.
networking bandwidth as well. Now let's just to put something in perspective. For general purpose compute, you need 2 ports of 25 gig to a server. That's a total of 50 gigabits per second. But AI clusters require 400 gig connectivity to a single GPU, right?
Wow.
And what and Jensen announced yesterday was that the B300, we are going into 800 gig connectivity,
Yep.
and with the Rubin class of GPUs, we'll be going into 1.6 terabits per second connectivity per GPU, right?
Wow.
So we went from 50 gig for general purpose compute to 1.6 times 8 per NVIDIA node, right?
That's huge.
That is huge,
Yeah.
right? So there's a lot of demand on the network. And let me tell you why that network is really important.
Yes,
in
would
AI
love to know
cluster,
about that.
right?
Yeah.
Because AI workloads or AI compute is really it's a multi-GPU problem. It's a distributed computing problem.
Right.
Workloads don't run on one GPU. They run across a cluster of GPUs.
Exactly.
And you don't want your GPUs, expensive GPUs, to be sitting idle waiting for the network. And that's
Yeah.
why you need high performance networking, low latency networking, and congestion free networking to maximize the utilization of your GPUs. Now, Ravit, one other trend that we are seeing in the market is that while there's a need for high bandwidth networking, customers are also starting to desire something outside of closed proprietary networking ecosystems. They
Yep.
want open Ethernet solutions.
Exactly, yeah.
Because what that helps them with is lower the cost of their infrastructure while still delivering the high bandwidth required. And you asked what is Juniper doing in this space?
Yes.
So Juniper is really at the forefront of driving towards that high bandwidth networking for AI cluster, but doing it in a way that adopts an open ecosystem. And what we did was we actually launched the 64-port 800 gig switch. We were actually the first OEM vendor in the market to
Wow.
launch an 64-port 800 gig switch connecting to Hopper GPUs.
Nice.
And we have had some great market success with that, Ravit. We are actually, we have a 44% market share as reported by 650 Group. We have a 44% market share in
Wow.
800 gig networking among OEM vendors. More than NVIDIA, more than anybody else.
Congrats on that. That's
Yeah.
huge. I've been hearing from other enterprise leaders as well. Obviously, Juniper Network is no new to the enterprises companies out there. They've kind of been using Juniper for years now.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Also, I kind of want to, since we are on this topic of GPUs, right? Can you tell us about your new GPU as
service.
the offering?
Yeah, of
I would
course.
love to know a little about that.
Yeah, so we recently launched an offering for GPU as a service providers. And Ravit, if you just walk the show over here, you will see a crop of new enterprises or new cloud providers that have popped up
Exactly.
that are offering GPU as a service or AI as a service, right?
Right.
Now, they have really capitalized on this niche requirement in the market where enterprises are looking to launch AI services. Everybody's trying to do that.
Yeah.
But enterprises might not have the skill sets to build your own AI cluster. It's a complex technology stack.
Yeah.
And in some cases, enterprises might prefer the pay-as-you-grow economics of a GPU as a service provider, right? So now while hyperscalers provide that service as well, this new crop of new vendors have popped in that are also called neo cloud providers, that are stepping it with customized solutions, providing better lead times, availability, and sometimes they can help circumvent and enterprises circumvent around data sovereignty issues as well.
Right.
So Juniper launched an offering for them that really kind of targets three critical pain points for this GPU as a service providers. One is we help them monetize their services faster.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like while hyperscalers can build the infrastructure and wait for the customers to come, these GPU as a service providers or neo cloud providers, they have to be better stewards of their capital. So they cannot build in advance. They need to, when a customer comes in, they can build at that time.
Right.
And what Juniper does is it provides validated blueprints using Apstra, and Apstra is a cloud management platform. So with Apstra, customers can actually deploy their entire fabric within a few minutes without having to go nerdy with the CLI and all those details, right?
Yeah.
They can deploy the entire fabric within a few minutes. The second piece of this is like with everybody else, performance is very important in AI cluster, like I talked to you about, right? So the first thing we did was build this box,
exactly.
high bandwidth, but we have also delivered what we call as a self-optimizing Ethernet.
Yeah.
What that does is actually sends traffic or load balances traffic based on congestion in a network, monitoring
Very
congestion
important.
real time in the network.
Yeah.
And then like a Google Maps for the network. Like with Google Maps, you can tell that what is the congestion along the entire
navigate
path
properly.
and navigate.
Yeah.
So this is like a Google Maps for the network where the switches can route traffic based on congestion parameters.
Yeah.
And we also have, again with Apstra, we have the ability to pinpoint with great accuracy where's the congestion in the network and remediate around that. And lastly, is what these GPU as a service providers are looking for. Their networks their clusters are inherently multi-tenant, right? They have multiple tenants residing on that. And in this world, isolation and security is very, very important.
Very important,
right?
True.
You have tons of data that you're using to train your proprietary applications. You don't want that data to be leaked out.
Exactly.
So with the SRX series of firewall filters that we have an amazing security portfolio to protect against these external threats.
Very
but
cool.
I also want to say that we recently launched a 1RU SRX 4700 platform that in 1RU delivers 1.4 terabits per second of firewall performance. Other competitive platforms require 13 RUs to deliver that just the same performance, right? And then we also recommend to our customers to take a defense in depth approach so that even if one host is infected, you use techniques like EVP and VXLAN in the fabric to completely isolate your tenants in the front-end fabric, the back-end fabric, so that malware cannot spread east-west across your fabric as well.
So you've kind of also taken care of the security.
Taken care of the security, yes.
That's fantastic. You also mentioned about open ecosystem, right? Can you tell us about the open ecosystem and the state of AI infrastructure? Why you're at GTC, right? Like, because we are your, this is kind of the topic of the town as well. Would love to know a little about it.
Yeah, so as we know, everybody is trying to build AI clusters, and like I said, even in the space of the last 1 year, we've seen our customer discussions, change a lot. Like back in 2023, everybody was like, can Ethernet even perform, right? I have InfiniBand. NVIDIA is recommending InfiniBand switches. Maybe that's the only thing that works. But over the course of last year, we have seen customer discussions change from not why Ethernet, but show me how. Right?
Exactly.
And really, Juniper has taken the lead in the industry with open networking solutions, and nothing really exemplifies this more than the AI lab that Juniper has built with our ecosystem partners, where we have GPUs from NVIDIA, we have GPUs from AMD,
Nice.
we have NICs, 400 gig and 200 gig and upcoming 800 gig NICs from AMD, from NVIDIA, from Broadcom, and then we have storage partners like Weka and VAST. And in this ecosystem, we thoroughly test real-world AI workloads.
Exactly.
Both for high-performance training, low-latency inferencing, or real-time inferencing. But the goal is that with these thorough testing, we then produce validated designs. So customers can take best-of-breed open designs, but still get the confidence that they can deploy this ecosystem with reliability and high confidence that it will work with high efficiency.
It's more about the flexibility as well that these enterprises are kind of looking at when you kind of talk about an ecosystem.
Right.
So that's fantastic. Also, one more curious question that I had, Praful, was how do you see the role of networking evolving for the the AI data center? How does that work?
So I think NVIDIA and Jensen are setting the pace. Right?
Exactly.
I think what we saw at GTC yesterday, he's already announced Rubin is going to be operating at 1.6 terabits per second per GPU.
Right.
Now, Juniper was aware of this,
Yeah.
and we have been designing solutions or in preparation for that milestone to happen.
Yeah.
And we are actually working on a 1.6 terabit switch. It's going to be 64 ports of 1.6 terabits per
Okay.
second. A bigger
Bigger, heavier as well.
father of this one.
Wow.
And we're going to be having that product launched in the market early 2026, even before Rubin hits customers' plates. So we are ready for networking for this high-end GPU cluster.
I love
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one other thing that Jensen talked about yesterday, I mean, he was talking about those yellow transceivers, and
Exactly.
he very eloquently stated that each GPU requires 6 optical transceivers. And when you have 100,000 GPUs, you're talking about 600,000 optical transceivers.
Right.
That can consume like 9 to 10 megawatts just in our optical transceivers. And we are also contributing to kind of get that power consumption down, because many times when you're building a data center, space might be a constraint, power may be a constraint, right? So in order to actually help customers bring down that power, we actually have solutions today. You don't have to wait till 2026 or 2027.
Yeah.
Juniper has solutions today where you can reduce the power consumption of those optics by almost 40%. So we are, to help with the next wave of evolution, we are going to get better with power consumption at higher speeds.
I love it. I love these announcements as well. So thanks for sharing it, Praful. And we are happy that the audience get to hear it from you first. Thanks
Yeah.
about that. If I have one question around if folks also want to learn more about it, where can they do that? I know you all have like a lot of resources that you all share, but anywhere where they can learn more about the AI infrastructure for networking.
Yeah, if you liked what I said today, and I hope you did,
For sure.
please reach out to us. We have an Ops for AI lab.
Nice.
Where we can show you how this whole open ecosystem works at very high performance.
Nice.
And we can definitely put a link.
I can
in your
put
show
a
notes.
CDA
Yeah.
for the folks to look at that, for sure. And one more quick question. If folks want to reach out to you, stay connected to you and see all the announcements and all the interviews that you do,
Yeah.
where can they do that? Is LinkedIn a best place?
I think LinkedIn is the best place. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll keep the conversation going.
Yes.
But Praful, such a pleasure chatting with you on the Ravit Show.
Same here. Yeah.
And we're definitely looking for 2026 as well, all the announcements and the production that happens.
Yeah.
Thanks again for visiting the Ravit Show. Such a pleasure hosting you.
Same here.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us.